Hey guys, it's Phoenix. I just ran a statistical test comparing the bow and the crossbow in 1.14, 18W43C. So yes, I do have to preface that this is still a snapshot, but this is exactly what we need to do, give feedback, and basically improve what needs to be improved for 1.14's release. So I'm going to say right off the bat that yes, the crossbow is statistically significantly stronger than the bow, in terms of damage only. I have all the raw data and it's in a link in the description of this video in a paste bin, so you can have a look at the calculations that I did online. Yes, the crossbow has a mean of 8.92 health, so that's like 4.5 hearts of damage. The bow has just around 4 hearts of damage. So let me just show you what I've been doing. I have a field test which I'll show you in a moment. There's nothing to do with this. And all I did was I shot it 50 times with a bow and with a crossbow. I did have to enchant the crossbow with Quick Charge 3 because it was just way too slow. And, you know, that's one of the downsides of the crossbow, I think. That being said, there is a range that I've discovered. The bow can do 6 health of damage, which is 3 hearts. The crossbow can do 7, but it can never do 6. I've never come across, after 50 shots, 3 health. Never. But they both have the same ceiling limit, which is 11. So that does skew the data a little bit in favor of the crossbow, but bear in mind that the crossbow requires a ton of time to load up. You could, you know, theoretically load up all your crossbows, put them in your inventory and your hotbar and just fire them all away, but then what? You're left with nothing, you're going to do it all over again. The issue with the crossbow too is that it doesn't have a power enchantment right now. It doesn't have a punch enchantment right now. It doesn't have a flame enchantment. It doesn't have an infinity enchantment. So we're waiting for this. I've also tried to cheat it in with commands. Just doesn't work. It doesn't apply right now. That means hopefully the crossbow can be buffed in the future. Another thing you need to bear in mind is that the bow can be fired without fully charging it. If you have a horde of zombies running towards you, you're not going to be holding a crossbow. You cannot simply use a crossbow when there are enemies running towards you unless you have a Quick Charge 3, multi-shot piercing enchanted crossbow. It's just really impractical. Yes, the crossbow does do more damage, but it's just not worth it. Two things can be said about the crossbow to improve it. One, do a little bit more damage. I think 12 is not that much to ask for. I think for a ceiling limit, 12 or even 13. Also, the crossbow needs to have some sort of power enchantment, and the piercing enchantment needs to do a lot more than it's doing right now, because piercing alone doesn't actually work very well. It needs to be with multi-shot, because piercing itself requires entities to be lined up behind one another, and that's really situational. So that's one thing. Another thing to take away from this is that the crossbow doesn't do more damage when the enemy is really far away. So I can fire it from here. Does 9, 9, 6. So it actually does 6 now. So it's actually dropped. From close by, it doesn't do 6 damage. The bow, in contrast, does about the same. 7, 10, 7, 6, 8. Sometimes it even does 11. I've actually tried it out in a live stream. So the bow doesn't get harmed very much. The crossbow does though. So that's one issue you really need to consider here. The further out it is, the bow actually increases increases in strength relative to the crossbow. Finally, I want to show you this. So I didn't do any statistical analyses with this because it seems like it's skewed a little bit. It's a little bit unfair on the crossbow. So that being said, I still think the bow is a little bit more advantageous, generally speaking. Finally, I do want to show you this. This is the field test. So I'm going to stand in the same spot, and this is going to push my angle up to 45 degrees, firing the crossbow. This is where the arrow lands. So I'm going to wait for it to land, and I'm going to mark it with this command block right now. So it's at 55, which is ground level. And then I'm going to do the same thing, but with a bow, and we'll see where it lands. I can fly away now towards the arrows, and the marked arrow is further away. So yes, it is true, the crossbow does fire an arrow further away, yet the arrow does roughly the same amount of damage compared to a bow. So what can I say about that? I don't think that the crossbow can be used unless you are camping or something like that, or it needs to be enchanted. Right now the enchantments are a little bit weak, but we are in snapshot, but this is kind of the feedback we need to give. The bow is still a better weapon. That's my understanding right now from all the data that I've collected. Maybe you guys have a different opinion in field testing, so actually using the crossbow in actual situations. I just don't think it's really practical at the moment. Thank you all for watching. Leave a like, subscribe for more creative content and news updates. Take care.